Well, hello everyone. My name is Beits. I'm with Gallop Technology Group, and this webinar is a very fun one, in my opinion. Password managers are kind of like a must these days. It is almost impossible to keep your password secured and to keep a different password for every service that you have. We have anything from Netflix to Facebook to our email addresses, passwords, and bank accounts, and all that fun stuff. People ask me all the time for years, how the hell do we remember all these passwords when we know that we're not supposed to reuse the same password on more than one service? So one of the best solutions that was invented, I think, in the last quite a few years is a password manager. There are quite a few of them out there. We are going to demonstrate one of our favorite ones, if not the favorite one, that is called Bitwarden. We used to use another one, and it's called LastPass, and LastPass got hacked a couple of times. Didn't seem to learn from that mistake. They got hacked again. Knock on wood, Bitwarden hasn't been hacked yet. It's probably just a matter of time, but we will definitely be expecting that. So we have to do what we need to do to, even when using a password manager, to stay as protected as possible. So today we're going to go over a couple of things. First of all, how do you choose a password manager, and how to use a password manager? I'm going to skip through most of the boring stuff, but there's going to be some documents and some checklists that you guys can get from us if you want to download it from our website. We're going to send an email when it's available. We're going to skip those annoying things, and let's get to the nuts and bolts real fast first. So how to choose a password manager? There are basically 5 criteria that we like to look at. One of them is the security features. The other one is compatibility. Then we have ease of use, features, and customer support. I'm going to touch those real quick. On the security features, most password managers these days will have a pretty decent security out there, I would say. We are looking for encryption, definitely strong encryption, which means that your passwords that you save on the password manager are encrypted. There's many levels of encryption. What you're looking for is AES 256. This is the minimum requirement today for encryption. And that means that if a hacker hacks into the database of Bitwarden, for example, they will be able to see maybe your username, but not the password. So encryption is important. Two-factor authentication for those of you who have been in my webinars in the last 5 years, you heard me say that almost in every webinar, every CLE class. Passwords these days are nothing. They're worth nothing. They're big BS if it's just passwords by themselves. Without two-factor authentication, you are losing a huge layer of security. So any password manager today that does not have two-factor authentication is definitely something to stay away from. And zero knowledge policy. This is basically where the provider themselves, the employees of the company that you host your emails with, cannot access your password. This is true for most companies today. The encryption will help that, and we're going to talk about how that works. But those are the 3 items for the security features when you choose a password manager. Next one is compatibility. Everybody uses today a cell phone, and everybody uses a computer, whether if it's a Mac or PC or iOS, Android, whatever it is. We are dependent on being able to access all of those passwords from any device. So cross-platform support is another requirement on the compatibility side that we want to look at. And basically what that means is the password manager that you choose will allow you to basically be installed on almost any device that you own, and you can access the password from anywhere, and they're all synchronized pretty much real time. The other compatibility item is browser extensions. This is where you have that little, you can see my icon over here on my screen. This is the Bitwarden password extension, browser extension. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So it's not just a matter of a software in your computer, it's also a web browser, because most of the logins will happen on a website, obviously. Next thing is our ease of use, that's the third item we want to look at when we choose a password manager. A user-friendly interface. There's some horrible password managers out there that are really complex. Bitwarden is kind of falling towards that not so friendly, but it's because it has a lot of features. So if you do want to take advantage of them, there are going to be some extra menu items there. But user friendliness is important because then the user adoption is not going to be great if the portal, the interface is bad. So if you're working with a company and you want to implement password manager for your employees, it's important that it's going to be a simple interface and simple way to use it. The other feature under the ease of use is the import and export options. Many people will come to a password manager from another password manager. For example, when we moved from LastPass to Bitwarden, we wanted to have the option to export everything from Bitwarden and import it into export everything from LastPass to be able to import it into Bitwarden. Otherwise, it's like hundreds of entries. Now, granted, we had to go and change all those passwords, but at least the entries, the URLs and everything that was saved, I'm going to show you soon, was there already. The username was there. We just easily changed the passwords. Number 4 on the list is features. And under the features, we're looking at the ability to generate passwords for you, strong, unique passwords. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I'm going to show you how that looks like. Sharing of passwords, another huge feature that was added in the last couple of years to many of the password managers. A sharing capability allows you to create a password and save it somewhere where you can share it with other people in your team or anybody else out there, and you can share it without even showing them the password in some cases. They're going to be able to push a button to log into a specific website, and they're not going to see what password has been used. So that's another cool feature. And the audit tools, one of the features that we really like in password managers recently is the ability to use a button, also a feature on the password manager that allows you to query the dark web where all the hackers and the bad people basically exchange information to see if the password has been leaked for the specific account that you're using. Or if you are utilizing the same password in more than one website for more than one application. So it will alert you that you're using the same password in multiple places. So that's in terms of the features. Those are the 3 that are kind of unique to some and kind of normal to others. And then the 5th item to look at when we choose a password manager that I think is important is the customer support. You want to make sure you have the ability to contact somebody in case of a problem. Your whole life is probably going to be on that password manager in that one basket, and you need to make sure you have support, resources, and ability to learn on your own without having to hire somebody to teach you how to use it, videos, tutorials, etc. So those are the 5 things to look at when you choose a password manager. The next thing is going to be how to use a password manager. So I'm going to walk you through right now. I assume, Journey, if you're with me here, I think you are. Can you please give me a thumb up or on the chat over here, make sure that you can see my screen, which is our website over there. I believe everybody can see it. Yes, we're good. Perfect. So we are going to simulate real quick using or setting up and starting to use Bitwarden, but this is the same case more or less for almost every password manager out there. So on this website, Bitwarden, for example, you're going to be able to start setting up the account by clicking on Get Started. Over here, it's going to ask you for your emails. This is a test account I'm using, and it's going to be bitwarden.com because you're not in Europe. And if you want to check this box to get some announcements from them and tips and tricks, etc., it is nice, and you can always unsubscribe, and they do respect the unsubscribe part of it. So you can click on sign up over here. When you do, and I did it before, you're going to see over here that you're going to get an email, and it's going to ask you to verify the email. And once you verify the email, it will take you back to, let's see if I can do that. Click on plus addressing, delete that, see if it works. Should have worked by now, so never mind. So anyway, when you authorize that email, it will take you back to the Bitwarden over here, and it's going to ask you at this point to create the account. The first thing that you're going to do is put in the master password. Oh, I do have it. So let's see if that works. Let's verify the email. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to open it in an incognito browser because the other one is already logged into Bitwarden. So this is what you're going to see. It's going to ask you for the master password. They recommend at least 12 characters, or they tell you at least 12 characters minimum. I recommend 16, and this is going to be a phrase. So you can remember that because you do not want to write that down anywhere. You don't want to share that with anybody ever. I'm going to show you what happens if you die, for example. You can assign another person to be able to access it with their own email and password, but for your own sake, use something that is unique and memorable. I love to use maybe a beginning of a song or something like that, or anything that makes sense to you. So for example, I'm going to write Elvis is in the house. I misspelled something here. Elvis. Okay. So this is going to be my master password. I can maybe add the number 1 at the end or whatever it is. So let's save that. I'm going to put it on my notepad just for the sake of this demonstration, so I don't forget it. And now we're going to have to type it again. And the hint, I ask you to not put any hints that will actually help a hacker to use it. So we're going to write over here, ask Beits. Okay, check known data breaches for this password. That's a great feature right off the bat. If this password has been used already and leaked in the dark web, we're not going to do that right now. We're going to speed things up. So now we have logged in to our vault, and I'm going to close that because I just wanted to show you how that looks like on the setup portion of it. But once you log in for the first time, it will send you another email over here, and it will give you some tips and tricks on how to connect and how to use. I don't know why it's not showing up, but again, this is a demo account, so I'm not surprised. So this is the vault. When you're here, the first thing that I like to do as soon as you set it up is actually to go to Google or to search extensions for your browser. And if you go to get extensions for Microsoft Edge, for example, or it's the same thing exactly on Chrome and Firefox and anything on a Mac, pretty much the same. You can also come over here under the extensions. And when you click here, it's going to give you the link to the store of where you can look for Bitwarden. And this is the password manager extension. So it's already installed. I cannot click on get, but when you install it, it's going to be listed up here. Sometimes you have to click on this icon and that little eye over here. Do you see how it disappeared? Now it will show you up here. When you click on it for the first time, it's going to ask you to actually put in your master password. And from that point, every time you go on any website and you try to log in, it will use Bitwarden or whatever password manager you chose to use. Next, let me move that bar here. The next thing is I want to go over with you the vault over here. So there's a few ways to populate the vault with your passwords. You can create items manually, which is really long way to do what we want to do. So for example, that's going to be, the name is going to be Facebook, and the folders are just for you to organize things in a way that makes sense to you. You can create folders or just leave it alone. This is going to be, let's say, social media. Well, I didn't create one, but we can. The username, you can type in over here. The password, now you can type in the password that you know, or if it's something new that you're about to create, like a new account somewhere, you can click on the little arrows over here, and it's going to generate a password for you. And I'm going to touch that in a second. This is another cool thing. But let's say we know the password for the site. There is no authenticator key. The website is going to be facebook.com. And pretty much that's it. You can put any secured nodes over here. This is my personal Facebook account, whatever. A feature here that if this is a very secured password, you can check the box and it will always ask you to type in that Elvis password in this case, every time you try to load this password or access it. I'm not going to save it right now, but this is the manual way to do it. And this is hideous and annoying and nobody really uses that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Facebook over here and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you try to log in to Facebook. So let's say this is my email address and I'm going to just type in a password, but I don't have a password memorized here. So when Bitwarden recognizes that there is no password for facebook.com and it's going to suggest a password for me. I don't really like these weird passwords. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the Vault. We're going to click on Generator. And now another cool thing, you can see that you can change it from passwords to phrase. And it's going to give you an option to choose. There's a minimum of, I believe, 6 words minimum. Maybe they didn't change it, but they said they will. So you can do 3 words minimum, for example, and have an hyphen or a period between the words. And you can see the example over here of what it is that they are going to suggest to you. Do you want to add capital letters? Absolutely. You want to include numbers? Absolutely. And this is what the passwords that they recommend will look like. So you can generate a password one at a time here, or when you're on any page over here, you can right click on any box anywhere on the page. Under the Bitwarden, that is going to be one of the menus on your browser now, you can generate a password and it's going to automatically copy it to your clipboard. So if you paste it over here, I just pasted it. Now, I'm going to click on Login. Now, assuming this is the first time that you installed Bitwarden or most password managers and you log into your website, any website for the first time before the password manager memorized your password, you're going to log in over here. And what's going to happen, the web browser is going to say, there is no password with that. I mean, obviously it's giving me an error because that's not a user that exists. But do you see how it pops up and asks you if I want to save this password? So this is how we're going to start building our database of passwords. I can, again, can set it up on a different folder if I wanted to, or just simply click Save over here. I'm going to click Save. And if I'm going to go back to our Vault over here, do you see the Facebook login is already here? This is how simple it is to add information and passwords over. Now, remember we spoke about one of the features that we want to see is to import. You can import data, and it's really going to be cool because it's going to ask you which program you're coming from. So if your web browser, which is really horrible, if you use your web browser to remember passwords, it is really not good at all. So you want to export the passwords from your web browser, and there's a way for every web browser to do it. I'm not going to show you now, but then you can come over here and import it, for example, from Firefox or Safari or any KeePass. A lot of people use KeePass. Obviously, LastPass is one of the more popular ones. And when you do it, it's going to ask you to upload the file that was exported from the other entity there with the other program, and all of your passwords will show up over here. I want to show you another little thing on the Vault over here. So now that you have the passwords memorized, let's go back to Facebook. And I'm going to go back to the homepage of Facebook. And now, because we have one password memorized, if you have few accounts, it's going to show more than one. It shows only one here. But now you're going to see one. I can click on it. And I can click on the fill over here. And it's going to fill out the password for me automatically. Another thing I can do is if I delete that, when I click in the box over here, you see the Bitwarden. This is from our web browser. So if I click on the box here, I can also choose the Bitwarden to fill in the information. This is how simple that is, right? If you have a password entered for the first time and you choose save, it will save it for you. And from that point on, it can autocomplete it just like your web browser used to do. And it is much more secure than the web browser. So we went over the initial setup so far. We talked about the master password And now we're going to talk about the two-factor authentication, because one of the most important things, as you know by now, is the security of the password manager, of course. So under my account, no, sorry, under security here, and every program will have it in a different place, of course, we're going to click on two-step login or two-factor authentication. Now you can see that this is the free version, by the way. The free version has some limitations. You can look at it here when you're doing when you go to the website. You can check to see on the pricing page what is the difference on the personal side. There's free $1 per month or $10 per year, which is nothing. Which is why I'm shocked that people don't use it. You know, $10 for the whole year, you can get so many features and so much security added. On the family, look at this. For $40, you can get up to 6 people to have unlimited sharing, unlimited collection, unlimited passwords, everything that you really need. But when you get to the business side, there are some other features. We always recommend the enterprise, because the single sign-on is a feature that's really cool. I'm going to talk about it at the end. So next, what we have is the setting up of the two-factor authentication, as I said, and you can set up an email, which means that every time you log in with your master Elvis password, it will send you an email with a code that you have to enter. We don't recommend that, because email as a two-factor authentication is not a secured way to protect an account. An authenticator app is great, and passkey is one of those little thumb drives that is not YubiKey or Yubico, and it's not Duo. So authenticator app for the free account is probably the best way to go, because what you do is, let's put the Elvis password here and you copy paste it, and we'll show you what that looks like. Because you definitely want to do that. The first thing after you create the account is to come over here and set up two-factor authentication. Did I not type it in correctly? Elvis is in the house without the one at the end. I think I did. Or did I? Okay. Anyway, when we set up the two-factor authentication through an authenticator app, I think I just saved it. I made a change and then saved it, so forgive me. It will basically show up a little QR code on your screen and ask you to download either the Bitwarden application on your phone, or Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. Scan the QR code over here. It's going to give you a 6-digit code. You've done that probably with many other things. So this is how we set up the two-factor authentication. Under the devices over here, it can show you which devices have been logged in and what's currently logged in case you want to know if you forgot you logged in on a laptop that you lent to somebody. You can come over here and then you can tell that it's here and then get rid of it from there, from that computer. We're not going to talk about keys right now. And subscription is where you can upgrade your subscription over here and get more features. We're not going to worry about that right now as well. There's so many things it can do, but we're not going to need to dig in all of those. Another thing to know that you want to know with every password manager is that you have the ability to also export your vault. You don't want to just get stuck of putting information in and then you're stuck with them. They're grabbing you know where, and then you can never leave, like Hotel California. We want to make sure that you're able to export, and you can with Bitwarden. Another feature to look at is send. Sending is the ability to send a password or a phrase or a file to a person securely. So let's click on New Send here or here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. We're going to call it, for example, testing Beits social security number. And let's say this is a text. I'm going to say, Beits, your social security number is whatever. And now a couple of other features here. When accessing the send, hide the text by default. So if I'm going to go back to my history here, it's going to be hidden. I can check that box. Copy the link to share this send to the clipboard upon save. So when I click on save, the link to get this note will be copied to my clipboard so I can paste it on an email or text message or whatnot. And a couple other options that are cool over here. There is a deletion date. After 7 days, it's going to disappear from my end. It's going to expire also after 1 hour or 1 day, that the recipient will not be able to open the link after that duration. They can open it only once or 5 times. There is a password to protect it. So I want to create a password so the recipient gets the link, but they have to type in this password. They can only open it 5 times. It's going to expire in 1 day. So all of these features over here, internal note for me, that's a private note. What is it that we're sending and why? And we can, play with the rest of the features here. So let's say I'm going to click on send right now. And again, the URL is saved. So if I'm now going to create a new email, and it's going to be to Beits at Gallop, whatever, link to social security number, hi Beits, and here is the link. I did not copy it. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. Going to come over here, and this is the link that was created. So let's copy that here. I don't think I chose that box there. And let's paste it over here. And what you want to do is the password that we sent, that you set up over here, the password, you can reset it at this point if you forgot it or whatnot. But on top of it, you can also, you want to send this password as on a text message or a different media or whatever it is, just not via email with the original link, because then it makes it a lot less secure. So we have 3 more minutes left. I want to run through a couple of more things over here. Back in our Vault over here, when you open the information, no, sorry, back on the Vault, when we're going to open, we can actually clone this. So let's say you have multiple Facebook accounts or bank accounts, and you just want to change the username and password, but all the other notes will stay the same, etc. You can attach also files to it, screenshots or whatever it is. And launch is another cool thing. You just click on it, and it will actually launch the website for you, and it's going to allow you to just log in from here. Next, we have the ability to share the password. And you can copy the username or password if you want to copy it and manually open it somewhere else. But if we open the password itself on the paid version, looks like they probably made some changes over here. Or no, yeah, on the paid version, you should be able to share that information or share that password with somebody else. I believe that this is one of the features over here. Secure data sharing. It's probably going to be one of these here, but we are able to share that with other people, as I mentioned initially, and this is a huge feature when you want to collaborate with passwords and have a team that, you don't want to share your password manager credentials with anybody, but you do have some passwords that you want to share with a team or with a family member, etc. So we can do that from here as well. You can create new organizations also, and an organization is kind of like a different company. Or what I did in my case, I didn't create a new company. I created a new family account, and I call it Livneh Family. And it's going to be same billing address because the family one is billable. Doesn't really matter what you choose. And from here, I was able to sign up my whole family, my 5 kids and my wife, into their own Bitwarden account, which is how I then am able to share passwords with them. So this is the process over here. And now that you have 2 organizations, you can see you can switch between them. Now I'm on the Livneh family. And if I want to change it back, I can get different abilities to share with my family and to create family members, etc. So we are technically out of time, and if we have something else that we didn't cover and you guys want to get some information or help about that, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is on the video over here. Check out our website, and I promised you almost always it's going to be half hour. We're half hour right now. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you joining. Hopefully that was helpful. Have a great day.